Have you ever wondered if you really need a passport to cruise? Well, if you have, stay tuned and we'll discuss this. Hello, everybody. This is Terry Jeanette with the Tapping Flamingo. When we first started cruising back in 2003, we did not have passports. And it was not that difficult to cruise without them. All we needed was our birth certificates and a state-issued or government-issued photo ID, like a driver's license. Several years went by and never really needed a passport, and then the rules started to change. And I don't really remember what year that was, but it's been a little while. And it was at that time that my husband and I decided we probably should get a passport. So do we really need one in 2023? Well, it's kind of yes, no, but you better answer. Let me explain a little bit better than that. It's early 2023. If you are on a closed loop cruise, you don't need one. But stay tuned because there's a little bit more to that than no, you don't need one. First, let me explain what that means. So closed loop cruise means that you left out of the same port that you will be coming back to. For instance, if you left out of Port Canaveral and you come back at the end of your cruise into Port Canaveral, that's closed loop. Now, the other type of cruise, if you left out of Port Canaveral and you go through the Panama Canal and you wind up in California and that's where you get off the ship, that's not a closed loop, and you definitely need a passport for that. So all that being said, we go back to the question, do you need a passport to cruise? And even though you can cruise without one, let me just say this, you really, really need to have one. And here's the reason. So say you're on a cruise and you fall and you break a bone, or you have a kidney stone or a heart attack, just some medical issues, and you wind up having to go to the hospital or to see a doctor when you're in port. Well, let me just say this. The ship is not going to wait for you to come back before they leave. And if this happens, you will have to find your way home, which means you're not going to be returning on that same ship and going to that same port that you left out of. And you will need a passport to be able to come back. Hopefully, nobody's going to get sick or break a bone, but it happens. Something else that could go wrong. You're on an excursion and you didn't take an excursion from the cruise ship that you are sailing on. The bus that y'all are riding on has a flat tire, and it took several hours to get that fixed, causing you to miss the boat. Again, if you have no passport, you're going to have a difficult time trying to figure out how to get back home or back to the ship at another port. So my recommendation is get a passport. It's really not all that difficult to apply for one. You can go online and search exactly what you need to do. In our area, we went to our local post office. It was there that they took our picture. We handed over our birth certificates, like I said, long form, and I'll explain about that in a second. And then you need two other forms of ID. One of them has to be a government photo ID, like a driver's license. And then one other form of ID, we used our Social Security cards. There is a list online of all the different IDs that you can use. Okay, so what is a long form for your birth certificate? We found this out the hard way. So you can get a short form or a long form. The only difference is on the long form, it has the parent's name, and that is what they needed for our passports. My husband did not have a long form for his birth certificate, and it took forever and ever and ever to get his passport. They held it and didn't even tell us why they were holding it. So make sure you send in the long form of your birth certificate. And make sure you apply for your passport way, way ahead of time because it can take a while before you get it back. And they'll have your birth certificate, so you won't even be able to take your birth certificate and use that to get on the ship. I hope this all made sense and helps you out. And let me know down in the comments section below if you're fixing to take a cruise. Y'all have a great day. This is Terry Jeanette with the Tapping Flamingo signing out for now. Bye-bye.